we get paralyzed. We get this decision paralysis that happens. We don't know where to start. The dog stole my chair, so I'm sitting on the floor doing this. That is why you're in the up and down way. Anyways, I'm reading Tiny Habits, chapter 3 right now. And honestly, this is an excellent, and I mean excellent, chapter. It goes over so many different things, but I wanted to touch on 2 things I think are vitally important, and I realized are fundamentally why I've made it where I have and haven't regressed. So I started off at 360 pounds, most of you know, and I've had people ask me, how did you get 360 pounds? Well, the answer is 1 bite at a time, 1 pound at a time is how I got there. Over a decade and a half is how I got where I got. But the more complicated answer is habits. I developed habits for when I felt bad, I used sugar and carbs. When I felt incomplete inside, I used sugar and carbs. And I developed habits around eating bad food. It became such ingrained habits, it was just so much easier to eat fast food versus cooking. Despite the fact you'd save money and time, didn't matter. I had these deeply ingrained habits. How I've gotten out of there is also habits. I always had this mentality of all or nothing. I either have to go all in, or if I stumble a little bit, I'm a failure. Like, just quit every diet I've ever done in my entire life. I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but I have throughout my entire life. Either all in or all out. That's kind of how it went for me. But why I've been so successful this time, and will be for the rest of my life, is because I've worked on changing the tiny habits, going from eating sugar and carbs to not eating sugar and carbs, being more active. When I started this, I could barely make it few houses. I was 360 pounds at 32, having to use a walker because I was so overweight and my back hurt so bad, I could hardly move around. A big thank you to LMNT for sponsoring this video. I use the raw LMNT most of the time. I love it because it's got the sodium, magnesium, and potassium in it. I need it. It works excellent for things like muscle cramps, headaches, fatigue, all that kind of stuff that happens when you're doing a low carb carnivore kind of diet if you're not getting enough. My favorite thing I like to use this for is I take a package and I put it in a big old cup of water. So I'll take a package, I'll put it in a big old cup of water, and then I sip on it all day long. I call it my bridge drink. This helps cut down cravings, the desire to want to eat. So I keep something in my stomach at all times, just sipping a little bit here and there. I've also been working on trying to drink more water because I haven't been lately, and I think that's part of the reason is because I haven't been going outside and sweating as much since it's wintertime. Anyways, right now, LMNT's offering an 8-pack sample pack free with any purchase. You just need to go to drinklmnt.com/carnivoreMe. That's drinklmnt.com/carnivoreMe. Y'all, ignore the crazy hair. We just got back from walking the dogs, and then I did Olive's 3-mile bike run before that, so I'm a little crazy, but I'm quite motivated to do this, so I wanted to share it because I mean this book is amazing. Read it. I love Atomic Habits too, but I'm gonna tell you, I think this is now my new favorite book, to be honest, is Tiny Habits. It has so much actionable advice. It has exercises at the end of each chapter to help you figure out what habits that you want to improve on and how to do it step by step. There is a portion in this book, and I realized 100% this was me. It's called decision fatigue. How many times have we been like, oh, you know, I know I need to eat well, but then you get to work and at lunch and it's just like your brain goes into overload, you feel overwhelmed, it's spinning around in a circle, and then you end up making a not so great choice to eat. Decision fatigue. That is exactly what I did. It was anxiety-provoking dilemma would happen. The burden of making a choice where they were least equipped for doing it. Hungry, tired, overwhelmed, make a bad choice, right? And I realized that was a big thing, but also feeling overwhelmed. I've mentioned this book a handful of times to people and Atomic Habits, and I've had people come back at me and they're like, you know, Atomic Habits was a good book, but I still don't know where to start. I actually came up with a thing I did. I wrote down habits I wanted to change, put them in a bowl, folded the piece of papers in half, and I literally pulled one habit out. One habit. That's where I'm going to start. I felt so overwhelmed. I didn't know where I was going to start. So guess what? I'm going to make a list, fold them up, throw them in a bowl, pick one out, and work on that. And when that becomes a habit, then I'll work on starting another one. That's literally where I'm starting at. And I'm actually working on 2 right now. And the first one is drinking water. Seems so simple, right? And the other one is doing the elliptical. I actually enjoy how I feel after I do it for a while. I eventually had gotten to where I could do an hour of it, and I just felt amazing. I felt exhilarated. And now I've been struggling looking at that thing sitting in our living room for years, not using it. It's become a dust collector. But the tiny habit is I do 5 minutes a day. That's it. If I get on it and I'm feeling really great and I have like high motivation, I do 15, perfect. But let's say tomorrow I'm feeling real tired, I don't feel good, 5 minutes, that's it. Setting myself up for success by having a very low bar. Now that bar will change over time, but for the next 2 weeks, 5 minutes is all I'm expected to do every day. I have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to easily do that. It's not a lot of effort. I don't have a speed requirement set on myself. 5 minutes. I don't care if my legs are doing this. 5 minutes. And that is, I bring that up because so many people want to do carnivore, okay? Or keto or ketovore, whatever you want to do. Or heck, even if you just want to do a low carb diet, whatever it looks like. We get paralyzed. We get this decision paralysis that happens. We don't know where to start. So I'm going to start a series and I'm going to share it every week of suggestions and things that I've done week to week to make things easier. Because sometimes knowing we need to do something, and it makes it harder to actually do something because we don't know where to start. In a way I explained to Scott, it's like I imagine sometimes myself, especially when I started this weight loss journey, is I was at the bottom of a mountain and I was just circling the mountain. I know I need to get to the top, but I had no idea how to get up there. So these videos are going to be habits and cut into little tiny habits that you can use if you'd like to help find your path up that mountain. Maybe sometimes the habits I suggest aren't going to benefit you because you're miles past me or you're miles underneath me, but I will try with each one of them to make suggestions to make things harder or easier. And every week we'll start with a new habit or revisit the one we did before. Second most important thing from chapter 3 is simplicity. Simplicity is vital. It is vital. If something is time consuming, physically difficult, or requires a lot of skill that we don't have to do it, we're not going to do it. So the more simple the task, the better. So if you want to eventually do 20 push-ups, well, start with every time after you go to the bathroom, do 1 wall push-up. Do that for a while. And when that gets easy, 2 walls, 3, 5, 7. Eventually, then you can get to 20 over time. Consistency, especially with weight loss and stuff, it is so much more important than go big or go home. And that is the mentality I've had for the longest time. I either am 100% in or I'm 100% out. I'm either 100% in, or if I'm not, I'm a complete failure. But that's not the case. Small things. Every mountain is made up of tiny, tiny granules of rock and soil. All of it. It's not one big old rock. It's millions of billions of granules of small decisions we make. And that is why this is important. So no matter where you're at, share with me what you're going to start this upcoming week. Okay, quick, super update. I did my 5 minutes on the elliptical. I actually did 10 minutes. And I have to say, I'm super proud. Don't let that little voice in your head say you're not doing enough. If all you can do is walk a house or 2 down the street and back, and that's what you got, that's what you got. That's the starting point. You can get anywhere from there. That's just the start. In book club we were talking about, and this is very true, we get these subtle undercurrents constantly. We see people doing, 20,000 steps a day, or, running 10 miles or marathons, or, all this stuff. But they all didn't start there. They all had to start small. And some of us just have to start with our starting line back a little bit further. Whatever you do, pick it, be realistic, and do not beat yourself up, no matter where you're at. I am not kidding y'all when I tell you I only could walk a few houses before I had to sit down. I will never forget that for the rest of my life, and I will never underappreciate the fact that I can walk miles now and not have to use a walker. I appreciate you guys. I just felt super motivated to do this video, and the dog stole my seat, Olive. Look at this. Look at this. I am the one sitting on the floor. My house is overtaken by animals, I tell you what. Anyways, I appreciate you guys. I will talk to you soon. Pick this book up, read it, come join our book clubs. We do it Thursday, 6 p.m. Although today we're doing Friday at 6 p.m. just because of Thanksgiving. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Olive says bye. She's going to go take a nappy.